Good afternoon, Central Texas College. This is Mariceli Santiago, Director of Central Texas College. And today we're here to give you the chance to ask us anything. Whatever you want to know about CTC, we're going to do our very best to answer it for you and help you figure out what it is that you need, how you can figure it out, and just anything, whatever's going on in your head, whatever doubts you have, we're here to help you figure them out. Today, I am joined by a wonderful crew. I have, let's start with Lucette Brett. She is our associate dean that helps us oversee everything that is financial aid, VA, and most of the money stuff, basically, and how to get the money so that you could come to school. I think that that's a semi-fair way of putting it there. Then we also have Pearl Creviston. She is the person that helps us be able to figure out how the heck financial aid from the federal government works in terms of FAFSAs and student loans and things of that nature. And then we also have here Eva Hutchins. She is our Associate Dean for Enrollment Management Services. Okay, so close.
Which is
Enrollment.
code for advising.
Yes, advising. Like, I don't know what classes I need to take. I need help figuring out what I want to do in the future. Um, and so these are the individuals that are here. Between us, we can either find out what the questions are and help you figure it out, or if nothing else, we will go ahead and get your answers a little bit later. But for the most part, we've been here long enough that we can answer almost everything between all four of us. So we're here for you. Please type in any questions that you may have and let us know what you're thinking of. Type any questions to our presenters.
Hey, I have a question.
Yes.
So, Lucette, I went to a Ellison High School presentation yesterday, and they asked me a VA question that maybe I thought you could explain because others might have the same question. My parents were both military and both have VA benefits, and there's several of us in the household going to school. So, how does that work when there's multiple VA parents in the household? Whose benefits do we start with or use, or how does that work?
Well, very carefully. So it depends on the benefit because there are several kinds of benefits. One parent could sign their benefit over to one child, and then the other parent could then sign to a different child, which is the course that I would recommend. We have some questions where students, it's just the one student and they want to use both of their parents' benefit, but what happens with that is it exhausts it twice as fast. So you never want to use two benefits at the same time because you're kind of cutting your nose off to spite your face. You don't want to do that. So they would need to contact the VA and speak with them so that they could fill out the information they need to in order to transfer that benefit over to the student. It also would be different if they entered the service in the state of Texas, the parents that were the veterans, or
Both of these were Hazelwood. They said they were Hazelwood eligible.
Right. So as long as it wasn't a Chapter 33 benefit, then they can use Chapter 35 in sync with the Hazelwood. But then if it's Chapter 33, they could assign one of their children the Chapter 33 benefit and then have another doing the Hazelwood. So it's one of those that it's a case-by-case basis. They would probably need to come in and talk with someone or at least give us a call on that to see what they're eligible for.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Oh, unless
Yeah.
Mariceli has one.
Nope, go ahead.
Hey Pearl, I went out looking for the FAFSA application for 24-25. It's not there yet, right?
No, they're not there yet. Unfortunately, the Department of Education is going to be delaying that process this year. So that also came up last night in our presentation at Ellison High School. And the reason was because other schools have deadlines, that priority deadlines. You know, you've got to have this FAFSA in by this point in time in order to be set up for specific awards. So I know that Texas A&M Central Texas was there, and they said they have had to already change their priority deadline from January to March
Mhm.
because the Department of Ed has delayed this, and it's not a student's fault if they can't do the FAFSA. So I am going to say in general that any school that has a priority deadline that is based on having the FAFSA completed is going to have to extend that deadline because
Does,
you're unable to do that right now.
does Department of Ed have a date when it is going to be out, or is it just TBD?
Well, they've given us an estimated date of December.
Oh, okay.
So their goal is to try and have it out by December, but we have also been working with some consultants right now, and they're saying it could even be January. So
Okay.
it used to be available much, much later in the year, but several years ago, they did change the FAFSA process so that students could go ahead and get it done sooner and
Mhm.
use 2-year prior information on taxes, and that way there was never a delay. But this is 1 year where they've gone in and made about, well, almost every question on the FAFSA is going to have changed. And
Wow.
they're changing the entire way it's calculated. Instead of having an expected family contribution now, which is what used to decide how you were going to get your eligibility, you now have what they call an SAI, a Student Aid Index. And that is what actually determines your eligibility now. So it is the first major redo of the FAFSA application in over 40 years. So it is pretty significant, and we have some details, but what I recommended parents and students did last night is go ahead and go out now onto studentaid.gov and follow the information. They are putting it live on their webpage as things change, what expectations there are as to what the changes are going to involve. And they go through and explain all that already. I had about a 240-page PowerPoint presentation
Oh,
that is a detailed, I mean, they take like 1 page of the FAFSA and break it down in 10 pages. So it's not as overwhelming as it sounds. It's so
okay.
blown up in detail to give you a really good idea of what the questions are going to look like, what the FAFSA is
Okay.
going to look like. So it's really good information.
Oh, that's good to know, because I know whether you I mean just this and this people I want to make sure everybody understands this is not just something that is specific to CTC. This is a federal government requirement. So regardless of what school, college, university you're planning on going to, you're going to come to the same situation. And so if you have any questions about how to fill that out, how to figure all of that information, you are welcome to contact us so that we can help you figure out how to fill out the new FAFSA once it comes out. I have a feeling that that's something that's probably going to end up being a really big deal. Is that their individuals are going to need to they're going to need to help just to understand the basics, at least that first time coming around. So if you have already used FAFSA in the past, especially, it's going to look very, very different. So that is something that you have to be aware of.
You can also go ahead and get your student ID, your login information. Go ahead and set that up now. There's not a delay on that. That option is already available to set up a user ID, and that would be both you and a parent, a student and if you're an independent student, it would just be for yourself. If you are a student under parent information, under the age of 24, then you need to make sure your parents also have a student or a login ID number and write those down. A lot
Yeah.
of times students don't remember it, and it can take quite a while to get it reset.
Mhm.
So if you do not have the ability to do this FAFSA for the 24-25 school year on the computer, you no longer have an option to print it out and send, I'm sorry, you no longer have an option other than to do it electronically. You don't bring those to the school. You have to print those out and you have to mail them into the Department of Education. So rather than do that, I recommend you come see us in the financial aid office and we will help you get that FAFSA entered.
That's good to know. They're having a little issue here with my audio. They can't hear me in Twitch. But can you do me a favor and talk a little bit about, because I had a question the other day um on Discord, and I had a student talking about, well, what do I need to do to change my degree plan? And do I have to pay money to change my degree plan? That was a question that came up, and I was like, no!
So first, I've never had that before. Yeah, so let me just kind of talk about the life cycle we're going through right now. So registration for spring opened last week. It opened on the 23rd, or the week before. I don't even know. That was 2 weeks ago. It's already well into November. So registration's been open for a minute. If you want to make sure you get the right classes for you, you want to go ahead and get that process started. I don't recommend waiting, especially if say you're a Pell student and you've got Pell for fall, you've got Pell for spring, you're ready to go. If you have other funding sources, great. But let's get that taken care of so you get the classes you want, you get the instructors you want. Yes, a lot of students will. This is kind of the time of the year where you might be thinking of changing your degree plan. Some things may have come up. No, absolutely no charge required for changing a degree plan. We just ask that you either come in person or put it in writing. We do like to make sure we're touching the correct account and making sure everything is, associated to the correct student. So we don't tend to do those over the phone. But if you needed to email us, that would be fine. If you needed to come in person and talk to us, that would be fine as well. That's a lot of kind of what we're seeing right now in this kind of toward the end of the fall semester is, well, maybe this wasn't quite the right fit. I've changed over to here. And what we'll do if you come in person, we'll definitely make sure you have whether you email or come in, we want to make sure you have a good understanding of, okay, this is what my current classes are going to look like in the new program. Maybe some came over, some didn't. Maybe they all did. Talk to you about that. Make sure it's the right fit. So yes, absolutely. The other thing is sometimes we've got students moving in to the area you didn't start this fall, and you're trying to get, like, you're starting for spring the first time. I would recommend, again, this is the time to come take care of things. And if you do need an ATSI testing, which is our TSI assessment, is for any student on an associate degree or level 2 certificate, you would need to potentially take that. Work with an advisor, make sure you need that first. But if you do, now's the best time to get into the testing center. In January, it will be so crowded. You might not get an appointment, and that can be a delay. So please come in now. Now we're looking, speaking of our calendar, we're looking at a couple of things going on. So I'm going to turn my head and look at the calendar so I don't get the dates right. All right. So we've got the rest of this week. Friday's a holiday. Veterans Day is a holiday. We'll be here next week, the 13th through the 17th. And then after that, the 20th through the 24th is a holiday. Our Thanksgiving break, CTC will be closed. We'll return on the 27th, and we'll be here through December 15th. The 18th through the 29th of December is our Christmas or holiday break. So we'll be out the last 2 weeks of December, and we'll return in January. So you just want to make sure you're aware of that. You can always reach out to us and contact us, like, for those dates if you need to. But just be aware the week of Thanksgiving, the 2 weeks at Christmas are a closure for the campus, and you won't get a hold of anybody during that time to take care of some of these things, like you couldn't come on campus and test, things like that. So this is the perfect time right now, early November through the 1st of December. Wonderful. Come in, get that taken care of, and you won't experience those January delays or pains in trying to come through with a crowd. So could not encourage that more. If there's anything else in that whole process that I didn't touch on enough, let me know.
Can I chime in with something on that?
Sure.
Please,
you have
please
any
do, please
questions?
do.
Okay. So we sent out a text reminder and an email reminder that if you are a student receiving veteran education benefits, that you need to get registered as soon as possible. So please make use of the academic advisors that are available now, because it will be crunch time in January when we come back. We do process even when we're not at school. So please make sure that you get your VEC in. If you don't know where the VECs are, you're going to log into your eTrieve system and just when you're searching for the form, type those three little letters in VEC. Make sure you get that filled out along with your registration so that we can cover your benefits on that.
Yes, I'm hoping they can verify if they can hear me now because I was told that some of them can't hear me. I'm hoping they can hear me now. Please let me know if you guys can hear me out of either Twitch or Discord if there's anybody watching. But everybody, this is the time. This is really everybody at this point that everybody needs to be getting all their stuff squared away for the spring. We do have some time right after the holidays to do things, but it's going to be a lot of people thinking about it during the last minute. And we can only do so much with a lot of people at once. So please make sure, and this is advising, this is financial aid, veteran services, but it's also if you have disabilities and you need to get accommodations, if you need assistance with anything out of the ordinary, for sure. Registration is open, so everybody can start their registration now. Trying to get into a class in January, it's going to be very difficult. You might not get the schedule that you want, so please make sure that you're thinking about those things as well. Because I know that those are things that we start coming back, and all of a sudden, we come back from break, and everybody wants to get their stuff done yesterday. And even if you're financial aid, you can't fill it out until maybe December or whenever they finally bring it up. If you have everything else ready to go, then it's going to make everything very much easier, including because the people that are planning on doing classes, like if they want to start into spring, they don't have to wait until the new system is up, do they?
No,
So that you're actually going to use the 23-24 FAFSA, for instance, for the spring, and that's available now. The one
Yes.
FAFSA that is not available now is for starting next fall. So don't confuse the two. If you haven't done a FAFSA and you're trying to start in the spring, the FAFSA you want to do is the 23-24 FAFSA application. And our school code is 004003, and you'll put that on there to have it sent to us. But you also need to make sure you've completed your admissions application so that you're actually a student with your social security number in the system. Otherwise, we can't match your FAFSA file to you as a student here, and they won't release it to us. But don't confuse the two. The FAFSA for this current fall term, for next spring and next summer, is still the 23-24, which is not delayed. That one is available already.
Yes, that's definitely good and very important.
if you're a current
Um,
student and you already did it, great. If you're just getting started and you think you might get Pell benefits, go fill it out now.
Okay, so another one of the things that I want to make sure if you want to be a CTC student, let's go ahead and
That new getting started page, don't we?
yeah, that's exactly where I was good headed. So I don't know if anybody wants to go over it because some people are telling me they can't hear me. Do you want me to bring it up or does
Oh,
somebody
but
want
they
to bring
can
it up?
hear us. They just can't
Yes,
hear
it's
you.
only me. There's an issue with me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Me too.
Um,
Eva, do you want to take it?
I'm pulling it up now. It's just being. Okay. Do you want me to share my screen? Okay.
If you can, that'd be great.
I think it's this one. Does that say getting started?
It does.
Yes,
There
we
it
see
is.
it.
Awesome. Okay.
It's
So
a
this
little
is
tiny.
It's tiny. Okay. Mm.
You
Let
should
me
be able
stop.
to increase it.
I know what I did. One second. Here we go. How's that?
That's great.
There we go. I've got my monitor turned sideways, so that was all on me. Okay, so obviously, if you are interested and you're not yet a student, we need you to submit an application. And I apologize, I shouldn't use the word obviously. It's obvious for us, but for some students, sometimes it's like, where do I start? We want you to start with the application. There's a link here, or you can go to this link here at the top. This link is available no matter what page you're on, but this getting started page under students, under prospective students, lives right here. So once if you have any electronic issues, with that, you can submit a paper application, but we do encourage the electronic if you can. You only have to submit a new application if you have been out of classes for more than a year. If you have been in classes in the past calendar year, then you don't have to worry about that. There's a lot of links here on this side that you can go and explore, but the basic step 2 after you've submitted your application is to review, do I need TSI? Do I need to submit transcripts, immunization records, or proof of Texas residency? A lot of that can be done parallel to each other, like at the same time. Let me just talk about each one of those in order that they're listed here. So your TSI is, it's a state requirement in Texas. It's, like I said earlier, it's only if you're seeking a level 2 certificate or an associate degree. If you're coming here for one of our certificates of completion that's considered level 1, which would be anything that's fewer than 42 credit hours, those are considered short-term programs designed to get you into the workforce, and they don't have that requirement of taking an assessment test. You can just start the classes. If you haven't done that, or maybe you've taken the SAT, we can review SAT scores, ACT scores. There's many things we can do. So that's usually a conversation about TSI with your advisor. So you can always link up here with the advisors in step 3 to talk about that. Transcripts. Transcripts, we really need those if you've attended another college. We don't want you to take multiple classes to complete a degree. If you've already completed a class that's an equivalent here at CTC, then we don't want you to retake it. So the only way we can determine that is if you submit those transcripts to us. Immunization records, our basic immunization requirement is only for students at Central Campus or students taking classes in Texas in person. If you're taking online, you won't be required to submit proof of immunization. The immunization is actually for bacterial meningitis. If you click out to that link, it'll give you a bunch of information about why the state requires that, what it's for, and the intent behind that. And that would give you also information about how to submit that. But you won't submit that until you've applied for admission. That's for any student under the age of 22 and under. If you're over 22, you won't be required to do that. Proof of Texas residency may or may not be required, but if you fill out the application, there's a lot of questions about where you graduated high school, where you live and work, and things like that. And what that is designed to do is to determine if we can give you in-state tuition rates. If you're living here in Texas, but you've lived here for less than a year, you may be required to be listed as outside of Texas. But once you get here, once you've been here a year, then you can reclassify. That's something that's very specific to each record. It will not be the same for each student because it's based on how each individual answers those questions. You will receive information from our admissions team if they need additional documents. Some students may need additional documents because of their situation. Other students, we may take their answers and no documentation may be required. So it's super dependent upon each person. So there's no way to tell one way or the other until your application is on file. After that, again, you may have already spoken with us if you're thinking about TSI, but if not, we do want to meet with you. We want to make sure you know who we are, answer any questions, and help you get started. That's really our goal, is to make sure you're on the right path, that each step in that path that you're taking the right things to accomplish those goals that you have, because sometimes we know it might not end here at CTC. You might be thinking of transferring for a bachelor's degree later. So it's always good to have those conversations at the beginning. Let your advisor know what those long-term goals are. And so we can help you work toward that. We can also be your go-to person for choosing your class schedules. We don't care to do that every time. Of course, if at a certain point, you'll probably feel comfortable enough to do it, but that first time, you may want some help. If it's your first time scheduling classes, we can definitely help explain all of the different class types we have, and how you find that and register. It is not a difficult process, but I always tell students that first time, if you don't figure out your student account on your own, that is not a bad sign by any means, because that first time it's just like, okay, this is overwhelming. Show me where I need to go. And then after you learn it, you've got it down. But all of that registration, class scheduling is part of step 4, but we can still help you with it. But that's through Eagle Self-Service. That will be your student account. Your student account lists what program you're on, what classes you're taking, what classes you've taken in the past. It will list your bill. It will list any financial aid award that you have. That's a lot of information that's specific just to you, but that account is called Eagle Self-Service. Once you apply, you'll have access to that within a certain amount of time of your application, and you'll be notified by email how to log in. We always encourage students to go to new student orientation once, if they've decided, and it's not limited to just new students. If you were a student this fall and you didn't attend and you want to check out what all information's at NSO or new student orientation, come on over. You can always click on that link to see the schedule for that. We have virtual and in-person, and Mariceli is our fearless leader on new student orientation, and she keeps it rocking. So they're super great, lots of great information. There's a faculty panel. They'll give you kind of an overview of what faculty expectations you'll have. And then lastly, we want to make sure you're prepared with books and that you have a student ID. Student IDs are only required if you're here at Central Campus. If you're a distance learning, physically not here, you're not required to do that, and would not have to do that. But your books, all of that information lives on our webpage. We can show you how to look through all of that, or you can just simply use this page to click out to all of these links. So that is our new restructured, I think it looks great, getting started page.
Can I add some stuff to that as it ties in with the financial aid, please?
Yes.
For sure. Do you want me to stay on this screen?
Yeah, leave that up for me if you would. So where it says register and pay for your classes, that's kind of where the financial aid would come in. One thing you definitely want to make sure of is you do have an active degree plan, and the classes you're taking that you want to use your financial aid for must be required for that degree plan. So that's something a lot of students say, well, I want to change my program, or I've changed my mind, and in the middle of the term, they may decide they want to do something else. It's not a good idea if you're using financial aid or veterans benefits, for instance, to just go in and change your degree plan midstream. You want to make sure you talk to us before you do that, because what could happen is you get paid for financial aid in an active term for these classes because they were on your degree plan. When you switch, the classes you may have tried to take already or are taking currently may not be included on your new degree plan. It can cause your funding to get pulled back. So I just wanted to interject that right here, that you just want to make sure if you are a financial aid student that you do contact financial aid to find out if that is going to impact the aid you're already receiving.
I also want to say, I don't know if they can hear me now. I made some adjustments. We'll see. But our new student orientation, the next one we will be having in December. And so anybody that is interested, December 14th, we will be having a new student orientation. So please, anybody who might want to participate is welcome to come and register for that. That way they can get it done before the beginning of the semester or before January. And hopefully that may give them some time to get some other things answered if they have any other questions.
And one other thing on the ID that Eva mentioned, you don't need a student ID unless you're going to be here on campus, but you will have an ID number. So keep that in mind. Just because you don't necessarily need the actual card, but everybody you talk to on campus is going to be asking you what your student ID number is in order to look up your information. If you are a distance learner, you don't need a card. You just need that ID number so that you can order books online using that ID number and so forth.
I
And
have a
your login to your self-service account will be it'll be based off of your ID number.
Right.
So you'll know that once you've applied, you'll get that number, and that'll be something that eventually you'll memorize. But as far as a physical ID card picture, if you are a Central Campus student, you should get one because there's many services where they do want you to physically scan it. But if you're not here, if you're truly distance learning and you're not here locally, then yes, you'll know the number, but you won't have a physical ID card.
I have a question coming in from Discord, guys, for VA.
Y'all want me to keep this screen up
I
or
don't think so for now.
okay?
So Lucette, is she's still here? Yes. Maki says, all right. So my first question is, how many years does chapter 35 last? I have been told before that it eventually expires if you're a dependent, but I wasn't able to find out how long.
So usually you're issued a certificate of eligibility that shows it's for 36 months. And if your certificate of eligibility has expired, or in some instances, you may have a few courses left, but it's expired, they can always extend it. So you can reach out to us and we can see if we can log into the Veterans Enrollment Manager system and see what your eligibility is. You can always contact the VA directly and they can give you that information. But it is 36 months typically.
Okay.
Good
So,
question.
yeah, and Maki's typing. So Maki's very active on Discord. We actually have a few that are very, very active and they're half questions. Let's see. While he's doing that, if anybody else is watching and you have any questions, please go ahead and type them. This is what that's for. If you have questions, we want to answer them. That burning question that you're like, I don't know what to do, this is the time. So let's see. Maki says, thank you for the answer. So I can extend it if I needed to.
That's going to depend. You have to apply to do that. So you would need to speak with a VA representative in order to do that. It's a case by case basis.
Yep. So that's good to know because that's something else that maybe other people might not be aware of that might be extended if they request it. That's always a possibility. I know we have a lot of students on campus that use VA for their benefits, whether they be directly the service member or they have passed it to their family. Let's see, Maki says, so it depends on the situation then. And then he said, I see, thank you very much.
Absolutely.
So yes, it depends on the situation, but that's why you have to do a special request for it.
Right. And even if they're chapter 35, if if the veteran was a Texas veteran, meaning they entered the service in the state of Texas or Texas was their home of residency, they would still be eligible for Hazelwood up to a point, depending on their age and the circumstances there. So they have
that was the next
150
question.
hours.
That was the next question. Does Hazelwood also expire if you are a dependent?
Typically for a dependent, it's up to the age of 26 or 150 hours, whichever comes first. So the Texas Veterans Commission has a website that you can actually register for. If you've already used your benefit, chances are you need to maybe get a new password and get that updated. They can do that for you and you can see how many hours you've already used.
Okay. See, this is it. This is it, Maki. You just made our day. Maki says thank you.
You're very welcome.
Because these are really good questions. These are questions that people should be asking, and they're
Right.
not. And this is what makes me happy about the situation because a lot of the times we have that person that just has it in the back of their mind and they wait until the very last minute to ask it when it's already either past when they can do something about it or it's too late for us to be able to help them. be able to resolve an issue the way that they want to. So that's why it's so important that people actually ask these questions as soon as possible so that we can get them done, and that you guys do the work as soon as possible. As soon as you know that something's going on, hey, let's log in, let's do this, let's ask these questions now, because a lot of times we can avoid some major
Absolutely.
pitfalls.
And we try to make the same information available on our web pages too. Sometimes it's a little tricky to get to them, but if you just search for Hazelwood or veteran benefit, it should take you right to those pages. The requirements are listed, links are there, and contact information. So we're happy to help in any way that we can.
Great. I have another question from Zen Razor now. So if I'm chapter 33 with 17 months of VA, I
Mhm.
can get an extension?
It's going to depend on the circumstances. So if you are progressively trying to reach that degree plan and you run out of time and you need a few more, yes, they can approve you for more time. And it could just be based on they approve you course by course. So it is a case by case basis.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's Riser. Sen Riser says, sorry for not clarifying. All right, good to know. So great questions, guys. Thank you for asking them. If anybody has any more, I see people popping in and out, but if anybody else has any questions about things like this is the time that we're here for you guys. Yeah. Thank you, Maki. See? They're all over here. You guys don't get to see them, but they're all chatting back here.
I
Just
just
That's
think it's
awesome.
cool that they use Discord for something other than
Yeah.
Xbox. That's all.
Yeah.
no, actually, they're very active on Discord. And ladies, I will tell you right now, you can have access to Discord too, and you can answer
Oh,
some of these questions if you ever
oh.
decide to. We'll talk about this on the side, but yeah, definitely. We have some
So,
we have some really amazing students that get on the get on Discord, and they really have some great conversations.
so I was gonna ask you, do you know or have any idea, like on Discord, like are these probably current students of ours or are they prospective or both?
We might have a little bit of everything, but the ones that are mostly active are actually students. A lot of them get the information how to log in by coming into the student lounge. And
Okay.
so I don't necessarily, I've met a few in person. Like these two I've met in person.
Oh,
But I don't
well,
remember,
so
but they do have, it could be anybody really.
So I was, one of the reasons I was asking is because of a project that my advising team is currently doing right now. So earlier I mentioned, hey, if you took the TSI assessment, I just briefly mentioned that if we're talking to a lot of current students, I want to mention if you took the TSI and the TSI said, hey, you need developmental courses and you're currently taking some, we're currently reviewing all of that. And please, please, please keep an eye out on your email because we're going to send you some information about next steps because you might have more. So any students who might fall into that category, I just wanted to say, check your emails and it will go to your student email on file.
Yeah. No, Sen Razor is said Discord has been used in other school systems.
Good.
But yeah, we have one here for anybody. We do have a Discord, and I keep up with it. That's one of my babies, and we have amazing, amazing conversations here. Let's see here. Oh, from Facebook we have how long these benefits can be claimed for Hazelwood program from Catalina.
That's a good question. It is based on your circumstances. So depending on
Razor.
why you're eligible for the Hazelwood, you could be eligible um, indefinitely, I guess you could say. But most students, they have until they're 26 years old to use the Hazelwood benefit. So you would have to apply. We would look through and see all of the circumstances. There's more than one way to qualify for Hazelwood. The veterans themselves can qualify for Hazelwood, a spouse can qualify, and so can children and dependents. So it's going to depend on how you fall into that as to how many hours you get or how long you can utilize them. But typically, it's until your 26th birthday. So I hope that answers your question.
Yes, let's see. Let's see if they come up with any other response. But I have over here, I do have another question. When you're changing your degree plan, do you have to update any paperwork for stuff like Chapter 35 VEC or the Hazelwood Continued Enrollment? Or do you fill them out as normal? I plan on changing my degree plan for the spring, and I just wanted to make sure if I had to do anything else before reapplying those.
Okay, so unlike the FAFSA and financial aid, when you're receiving veteran education benefits, you have to complete a VEC each time you register. So every time you register for courses, you're going to be logging into eTrieve and completing the VEC application. And when you do that, there is a space for you to put what your degree plan is. We're going to check that regardless. So even if you forget to change that, we're going to look up in the system what degree plan you're under and what classes you're on. And if they do not match, and then we can't certify you, and we would definitely send you a letter through your email. So make sure that, again, like Eva was explaining, check your email frequently, especially if you're a VA student or a financial aid student. That's our main mode of communication is through your student email.
Really, any student, all students,
Yeah.
check your emails.
Yeah.
Yes, for sure. Let's see. Catalina, back to Facebook, wrote, and this was regarding the Hazelwood benefit program. What about for spouses? What if the veteran is deceased?
Okay, so they would need to apply, like I explained, and then it would depend on all of those circumstances. We would have to look at the DD 214 and make sure that all of those things are eligible. So when the veteran is deceased, it depends on if it's a service-related incident as well, or if they were 100% disabled before they died. So if you have more questions, I really do hope that you will contact us. And I don't know if in Discord you can show our email addresses and things,
Yeah,
but we would
they
like
can
to
see
talk with you.
everything that you guys are there. We're everything you post, they can see, and I can just type anything in.
Okay, so yeah, our email addresses would be perfect for this. So that way we can contact you and get more information. I don't really want to go over a lot of details on the internet for obvious reasons. Oh, there's that word again. I don't want to overshare. So please give us a call so that we kind of can get a grasp of where your family is at with this process so that we can help you further. Okay?
Put in all of our emails in the chat.
Thank you. And for those of you who don't know, we're not all located in the same building, but financial aid and veteran services are all in building 215. And then right next door, Eva and academic advising and admissions, they're all located in building 209. So we're in pretty close proximity. It's not a long walk over to the student center or whatnot. So you're more than welcome to come over and have a face-to-face conversation with us as well.
I'm putting those on Facebook first because this is where we got that question right now with regards to the Hazelwood. But I will go ahead and add that to the other group as well. So that way, yeah, we've been having good questions, guys. Let's see. So,
Great.
they do financial.aid. And then it was academic advising, right?
Academic dot advising.
Academic dot advising at ctcd.edu. And then veteran
Singular dot services.
dot services, thank you. At ctcd.edu. So that way they have been added to that. And then I'll also add them to Twitch because we're also doing Twitch, guys. I know you guys don't know this, but we're doing Twitch too.
Multitasking.
I am multitasking. But we're getting questions from all of these different locations. So
Awesome.
I am very, very happy. And it looks like they can actually hear me now. I think I fixed the problem with people not hearing me, which makes me happy. Because that was a thing. And it's very unfortunate if they can't hear me. Okay, so do we have any other questions about anything at all? I feel like we've covered a lot. Today was a veterans kind of day and maybe a little bit more about advising, which is okay because we take turns. It's nice to share. And if we're good with questions, that's fine too. Let me see. Anybody else? Speak now, forever hold your peace, guys. This is the time to ask any questions you might have, any last minute questions. A few things coming up. Just a reminder, we're off this Friday. We're not going to be working at all. So please, if you need anything, you're welcome to email us, but we will not respond on Friday, or don't try to come to campus because we're not going to be here. That's Friday. We have Thanksgiving week off. That's the now in November. The whole week of Thanksgiving, we're going to be off. So,
Yeah, through the 24th.
yes, thank you. I can't remember dates. And then, we're going to have new student orientation on the 14th. So you can sign up going to the website, ctcd.edu/NSO. Even if you've taken classes before, it's okay. Come back because we go over so many things that can be important, including things that change. So that's excellent. That's exactly what we need you guys to do. We've always had people that have either taken classes in the past and all that. We're also going to have one in January. Let's see, that one's going to be on the 11th. That one's in person. The one on the 14th is going to be virtual. The one on the 11th of January is going to be in person. So it's a little bit different. Write it down, guys. Even those of you that are in here, even if you don't remember, write it down because you know you're all invited, right? You're very important to us. And then we're going to be off. The campus is going to be closed from the week of the 18th, and we don't really come back until January 2nd. We're going to be completely off. So if anybody has any questions or needs any help, keep in mind that we have to work. There's a lot of holidays between now and January. So make sure that we have everything tracking and going and everything like that. So anybody else? I don't see any other questions. Let me do one last look through everything. Okay. So, Maki was talking to mom, and mom has questions. Like, but I think the interconnect connection is crazy. Okay, well, I don't know what's going on. Okay, Maki, if you can't hear, maybe should that go to veteran.services email, Hazelwood, or is there a different email for Hazelwood?
Hazelwood is going to be here, I got it.
Because we can definitely, if not, we can definitely get you.
Yeah, I
If
put the phone number and the email address on there, as well as the links to the main page, which also will have that contact information too
okay, let's see.
in our chat, but I didn't know which platform that Maki's using.
That's okay. Maki's in Discord, but that's okay. Y'all, I need to make sure y'all know that you're all about to get into Discord. We're going to talk about this.
We're all going to get
Um,
Discord training.
Yeah, well, and it's going to be good. You'll see because sometimes they have questions, and it doesn't mean you have to be logged in all the time, but it's a good thing for you guys to be able to,
Absolutely.
if necessary, just pop in and give like a general hey. So let's do this one. And go to Facebook. And then I'll get the other one in a minute. Where is it? But if not, yeah, and Maki is very good about communicating with me. So no matter what, we will get Maki's mom taken care of. That is not going to be a problem.
Good deal.
Good to know.
All right. Maki, I'll get you. Let Maki know what's going on. Okay. So I think Maki's trying to type it all in. We'll see. But other than that, if not, we will get Maki squared one way or another. If there's no other, the question is, if you were already past the age of 26 when you were using Hazelwood, how does that work exactly?
Well, you wouldn't be eligible now. And again, it's going to depend on your circumstances, whether you're legacy or not. But sometimes the age requirements do impact your eligibility. However, your age does not impact for Chapter 35. So that might be another avenue you could pursue.
Said mom used them while she was 40.
Right. So, like I said, if you will give the Hazelwood number a call, then we can get some more information. And we'll be happy
Okay.
to help you directly. Yes.
Maki, give mom the info so that she can call. And then that way, with the details, they can look her up and give her information that is very specific to their circumstances. And that's why I will tell you guys, that's why one of the things that for me specifically, if it's a financial aid question, VA, I am very hesitant to a lot of the time speak about it because there's so many little nuances. It's a lot of if this, then that. And that's why it's very important that you speak to somebody that can look at your circumstances and can guide you based on your circumstances, because there's been so many changes over the years and recent years. I mean, I would say between the last 10, 20 years, I know within the last 20 years there was like maybe one version of GI Bill, and then all of a sudden there's all these little things that have popped up. And so yeah, I don't
Every time the legislature meets, they like to change things up a little bit. Or
Yeah.
a lot in the case of the simplification of the FAFSA.
Yay! Let's see here. I have Maki says, thank you. I will give her this because she has been planning on reapplying again. So
Sure.
it's like a case by case situation for each person, correct?
Oh, okay.
Oh, and then Sen Riser, do you mean the post 9/11 sections? Yeah, that's an example. Post 9/11 was post 9/11. Some of you don't remember 9/11, but we do. We here, we remember. And we know that after 9/11, that's when a lot of these changes actually started happening with the VA benefits and all of that fun stuff. I know, and some of y'all don't remember, but we do. It's one of those days that you will if you live through it.
Let me get you to
don't remember.
the business
Pearl.
office manager.
Give me one second, because
You Pearl.
yeah, I muted her. It's
There
okay.
you go.
Let's see. Any last minute questions? I don't see anything on Facebook. Right now we're good here. Okay, I'm gonna call it because it's an hour. We have had a very productive session, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you, Maki. Thank you, Sunriser. Thank you, over here on Facebook, Catalina, for your questions. Especially thank you to my friends here who make this possible and make it happy and fun for me. Lucette, Pearl, and Eva, you guys make it great. I had a lot of fun today. I don't know about y'all, but I had a lot of fun.
We're glad to be here for you. Thank you for hosting.
Absolutely.
Yes. All right, guys. Oh, okay. So just keep it at Sen. I can just keep it at Sen because I keep messing up poor Sen's name. That's okay. All right. Thank you. We will see you guys next time. You guys have a great day, and we will stop streaming now.